You are listening to Fika with Vicky on United Public Radio, 107.7 and 105.3 from New Orleans.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fika with our lovely returning guest, Rachel Patterson, and me, your host, Vicky Bennison. Rachel is a best-selling author, a witch, the high priestess for the Kitchen Witch Coven, an elder for the Kitchen Witch Online School of Witchcraft, and the host of the Pagan Portal Podcast. We'll be talking about everything today. We always do. But most importantly, we're going to be looking at some of her newest offerings, including her upcoming dragon magic. I mentioned dragon magic because while I read Rachel's own experiences with dragons, I kept thinking, well, that explains a lot. As the song goes, this girl is on fire. Nothing stops her, and she does it all with laughter, a blazing enthusiasm, and an eye on the practical. And I think practical is becoming a buzzword for some of us. In a changing world, there is always a bit of this and that in those kitchen and craft cupboards. Add a pinch of imagination, possibly a walk, and Rachel will inspire you to do, learn, and grow. She was the author that drew me to Pagan Portals. And now, look, I can't get enough of them or her. So what do you say, Rachel? Shall we get this party started? Welcome to Fika.
I think we better. Dragon magic yeah, you're right. My dragon's been with me for as long as I can remember, so it's definitely what keeps moving me forward.
Like I said, we'll be discussing that in a little bit, but definitely there's a dragon energy there. So beware, people. Behind that laughter, you never know what's going to happen.
Don't tell people that. It's the best kept secret ever.
Oh, good morning, Robin. He says good morning to you and I, Rachel. Now, before all of the I'm not going to say serious stuff because it's not going to go there. But I just want to mention something that keeps popping into my head ever since I read The Element of Water. Okay, from the kitchen thing. You write, Rachel, and I still can't believe you did that. I'm going to say that the book is about water people. And she wrote, "Let's dive in." And I was like laughing and moaning all at the same time. Saying, oh no, she didn't, but she did. and so actually it was good because I will never forget that book because every so often it just goes and let's dive in.
My brain sometimes doesn't connect with my mouth or my writing.
That's okay. Well, and this is important because I wanted to say, and you're a writer of Pagan Portal books and also the host of the podcast, is that although they're under the same umbrella, if you will, the same name, the more I read the Pagan Portals and the more I get to know some of the authors, I feel like I could tell from the ones that I know who wrote it without by reading it. You know, everybody has their own style and it's all an individual kind of thing.
We have some amazing authors. Moonbooks Publishing produces the podcast and the books, and they're all amazing, and so many different subjects and pathways, because paganism and spirituality is such a huge umbrella for all sorts of things.
No, definitely. And you can go with why, and I said practical at the beginning, why I have always loved your books is because I have a copy of Candle Magic. And so we'll just lead that. If you look at it is almost like a recipe book. Like It's there, straightforward. there's lots of activity. There's lots of things to do. And it just inspires you to do more things and go on further. And that is why, whereas others are, not that you don't have information, you have lots of information within that realm, but it's others concentrate on the information more, or possibly on activism, or and all of the books have a little bit of everything. But yeah, you're Rachel's my practical go-to girl. Like, she'll get you moving. And I haven't been doing that enough lately, so I miss that. So do you think sometimes, like, because you have to take in that everybody's different, so you have a whole world of readers out there. Now, when I get bombarded by, it's my fault, I go looking for it, so it's not bombardment. When I find myself in a treasure trove of information, I can easily get overwhelmed, because I am a person that has to sort things into their categories. So I'm like, I have to have everything under this list item that's ever been written about fairies, so I can compare. I have to have this under this list item that's ever been written about dragons or whatever, and then I shut down, because there's no way I'm going to be able to do
too much
anything with this mess. And then it does become a mess, because it's like when the kitchen bottle gets stuck and you got it outside. So is that why you are an activity girl more than maybe some?
I think I'm a doer. I am a doer. I can't sit still very well. You may have noticed. I can't sit still and do nothing. But I do like research too. I love all that information as well. And any book that I write starts with research, phenomenal amounts of research. And I have Post-it notes and bits stuck here and bits stuck there. I am organized, believe it or not.
No. I can see
it doesn't
that.
feel like it. But there is. And most of those subjects do have an awful lot of information about them. And it's about working with what works for you. With the candle magic book, I haven't given you this is a candle spell for this is a candle spell for that, because it might not work for you. What I've wanted to do was give people all of the information and options, so that someone can look at it and do a pick and mix, really, to make your own candle spell. Because if you've put your personal influence on it, it's going to be more powerful anyway than just copying something straightforward. So that's what I hoped to do with that. And I think all of witchcraft and magic is like that. It has to be tailored to each person.
Because of your experiences and because of what you want. Nobody knows, it's like taking your problems to Facebook or whatever. Those people don't know what you really want. Only
I like
you.
to tell
only you. I mean, okay, it gets done, but in your heart what your intention is and what you want.
And of course, the universe plays a part too, because what you want might not necessarily be what you need. So
as the song says,
the universe interferes sometimes.
Yes, no, it's absolutely true. We are not always the best, deep down inside we might have it, but it hasn't made its way up here yet. And I'm a slow learner, so I need a bigger kick than many people do. Here it is, Vicky. Okay, we have written it in the jet stream in the air. Now
I think you learn by experience too. You have to try things. You have to make mistakes. I've made hundreds, thousands of them, but that's all part of the learning. That's all part of the learning, and it all teaches you something.
Well, I think if you do everything with respect, ultimate respect, that the individuals that you're working with are forgiving. Yeah. They know. And let's face it, this stuff started with people creating the ideas in that back many hundreds, many thousands of years ago, right? So they're used to humans. I think it's the one place that maybe perfection isn't needed, just a good heart and respect and doing the best that you can. I mean, where else on the planet?
The gods have a sense of humor. They must do.
I think so.
She
I
says,
think,
hopefully.
what are those silly people doing down there? So I just
Basically.
took, because there is so much. See, this is. I never say things right. There is a lot of resources, and like always, the list of resources in the back. Rachel does a lot of research. There are piles of books involved, but she does a lot of the activities too. And I like them. Okay. I'm a person who likes big primary print and go here. Not that she has that in her book, but so because I'm interested in divination, we'll concentrate on the divination things today. Okay. Because you can't, as much as we can concentrate. And so there were some different ideas that I really liked. With yogam, just carving that are easy to do, just carving the symbols into the candle itself.
Yeah.
And
It's
and you
about
can,
adding layers. You're adding a candle, simple candle is brilliant magic. But if you can add in those layers, if you can carve a symbol into it, if you can add herbs to it or oil to it, you're adding layers of power to your spell.
and you can do that with the Norse runes.
Yep.
As well, witches runes.
I'll be honest, I'm a bit rubbish with the runes. See, I think it's such a big area, and such divination in particular. There's so many different types. You aren't going to be good at all, of them.
No, that's why you pick out.
Then you are a very specific person. But runes don't, they look like little squiggles to me, I must be honest. But they are.
Well, you can't.
They are very good. They are very good for carving into candles because they're very simple lines. And carving into a candle can be a little bit tricky if it's a small candle. So runes are perfect because they are quite simple shapes, and it adds that extra power to it.
And you can also use tarot or oracle cards by placing them in front of the candle to add that. Right. Because like each one, for those who don't know, each one means something. There's always keywords, even before keywords were a hashtag.
Oracle cards are probably easier to work with because they literally have the keyword printed on the front of the card. Usually.
Yes,
but
they
gives
do.
You focus. It gives you a focus. It helps you concentrate on that intent.
That's right. That's right. And while you're thinking about that, even because this is a mainstream show and I'm just introducing a lot of people to a lot of new ideas, I always say, whether you are a believer or not, it will jump your thinking. Once you're concentrating on an intent, like what am I grateful for? What do I need to be brave for? And start asking yourself those questions, a lot can come to the forefront. So, if I only have one thing to carve on my candle, what am I going to pick?
Yeah, you got to narrow it down.
So you find out what's really important to you because, unless you have a lot of candles in front of you and then you can, but no, it is, the different layers. So you also have that to pull in some other stuff. And no, I don't know you with tarot, with the runes, with Ogam, which I try to work on, but there's only so much time in the day, right? I think that we're all always.
You don't have to work with that. If you are carving something onto the candle, it could be something really simple. You could carve a heart to represent love or a dollar sign to represent prosperity. It doesn't need to be anything magical, spiritual that you don't understand. Keep it simple.
Simple is always best.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, she may, because she's all about historical things. So this is a good question. Robin would like to know, do you know why we put candles on birthday cakes, Rachel's? He always wondered about that.
That's a really good question. I have no idea. I mean, obviously, it's to make a wish, and people do that all the time. And what you're actually doing is making a wish. You're working magic. even when you don't realize that you're doing it because you're making a wish and blowing the candle out? That's a really good question, Robin. I'm going to go and have to research that now because I don't actually have an answer.
Well, send it over to me.
We'll let you know on that one.
The problem is we're always so concentrating on the cake.
Well, obviously, priorities.
That we're not
thinking. I want to know how old that tradition is now. Good question. We'll get back to you on that one.
Thank you, Robin, for that good question. And this is a perfect example that Rachel is always learning, because she's not like, oh my gosh, I don't know this answer. She's like, I'm going to find out a new quest.
If I need to know now. My brain wants to know now.
That's it. Off we go. And we're going to find out why. No, it is to keep it simple. But like, if also simple is that you do have keywords for all the Ogam and the runes in here, and they'll be on the oracle cards themselves. And speaking of oracle cards, you have your flower. I want to say flower power because flower magic oracle cards. And you have some more coming out.
I'm working with a publisher at the moment to get several sets out, actually, Kitchen Witchcraft themed ones. They're in the planning, making, editing, designing process at the minute.
Okay, there's a whole lot in there, so I'm not holding my if witches have cauldrons of magic that they're making, Rachel has the big ones of works in progress.
Yes. There's always something happening behind the scenes.
Don't lose the list. Okay. We'll all be disappointed. Okay, so there is also so there's crystals you can use with your candles for the layers of power. You can different tree pine needles, anything you can roll around your candles. It even shows you how to make candles and
it's
wax
messy.
poppets.
It's messy.
Okay, maybe we'll just go buy our candles.
I have tried it. It's very messy. I buy them. It's easier.
I did when I was very little, and someone else had to clean up the mess, like the group leader or whatever, and bless their patience for for making candles with kids. But speaking of birthday candles, you even suggest birthday candles for doing a spell because they're different colors and each color has a different layer of power, and you can burn them all at once.
They're cheap, they're easy to get hold of. They're, as you say, they come in different colors. If you're working a spell, you don't want a great big pillar candle, because with a spell you really need to burn the candle down while you're sitting watching it. So it needs to be something small because you don't want to be there for days. So birthday candles are absolutely brilliant because they take a couple of minutes and you're done, kind of thing. Not so easy to carve on because they're so tiny, but for a quick, instant, straightforward spell, birthday candles are perfect.
So save the carving for like a very safe place, and maybe seasonal where you can put it up, and and if you don't have a cat, my goodness, there's a lot.
You can buy spell candles. They are probably about, I'm just trying to think, about 4 inches long. So they take about 20 minutes to burn. They're ideal because they come in different colors. They're big enough to carve and they don't take forever to burn.
So look up some spell
candles. They're just called spell candles. That's what they're called.
And you can find them online, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or your local witchy pagany kind of store. There is also divination from the candles themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Pyromancy, scrying
with the flames. Staring into flames of any kind is fascinating, whether it is just the candle flame or a bonfire or fire pit or whatever you might have. Ask a question, stare at the flames, see what images you see what pops into your head.
Now, if you used a candle for that, could you use a bigger candle, or do you suggest a small candle?
Absolutely. You can use any candle for that. Any candle for that. Just
But you
ask
could
your
just
question
save
on
that
what-
candle for scrying purposes.
I don't think it matters so much with that. I wouldn't reuse candles for different spells,
Right.
but just for scrying, just for looking at the flame, it doesn't matter. You can use whatever you've got, reuse it, no problem.
And what is your favorite part of working with candles?
The burning stuff. I do. For me, the flame is transformation. That's what fire brings. It can be destructive, but it tears down to be able to rebuild. So it is transformation. It is changes. It's manifesting. So it is about working with the flame for me, I think, because it is such a powerful way of making changes.
Yeah, no, it is. It's how I get rid of, like, journals from a period that I don't want to really, I did the work, I've done that, they go in the fire. Like, everything I don't want goes in the fire. If it's annoyed me enough, it's gone, because it is. And we know from forests and that it's devastating when they burn down. But there is always fresh growth.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And we know that is important. So yeah, I get I get the lucky to burn.
Yeah, set fire to it. Whatever it is, set fire to it.
Oh, see, it is a thing. Dave says that candles on cakes, because he has Google. We can't Google.
Well, it'd be terribly rude.
We should try that, though. Like, okay, excuse me, we have to go. Came from Greece and was originally to honor the gods. So that makes sense. It's a sacrifice of sorts. You're sacrificing the cake.
Most cultures have candles and have used candles for a very long time for religious or spiritual purposes. So that makes sense. That's good.
Well, it's such a powerful, like, even the image of a candle in a window brings so much. It is such a powerful image. And I don't so much now, but because the house is pretty packed full, but to have a place. But I used to light candles every time I had a chance. I mean, I think we all do when we're younger, or is that it adds so much atmosphere.
Yeah, they are the light, literally the light in the darkness, aren't they? There's something quite powerful about it.
And if you have candles on the dinner table, you can lower the lights, and possible housekeeping misses are less noticeable.
Or power cut. You go power cut. A witch has always got candles in the house.
That's right. And Rosemary says, fire. Fire is good. I'm a Leo, so I am naturally attracted to that, but there does have to be some water around somewhere because it can get out of control. It does do that.
It's all about balance.
That's it. When my kids were younger and my husband was on the road, he would come home and sometimes he'd just look at me and he'd say, "Get in the car." And they would say, "Where are we going?" He goes, "We're going to water. I don't care where your mother needs to go to water."
My husband does the same. We need to go to the seafront. Come on. Release. Yeah,
it
absolutely.
is. You just stand by that lake or whatever. So it is important. Okay, so while we're talking about fire, the obvious is, and I was waiting for this one as well, and I got a sneak peek, is the Dragon Magic book coming out on, I think it's July 1st here. Does that sound right to you?
Yes, end of June, beginning of July.
Right. And first of all, what is the biggest warning in that book? Before we start talking about this, Rachel, don't.
I have no idea.
Don't summon a dragon.
Right. Yes. It's respect, isn't it? Yeah. I think it goes for the gods or any of the other world in any capacity. Don't summon them. They're not going to come anyway if you do. It is about respect, but you're dealing with relationships with these creatures, these gods, these deities, these whatever they might be. It is about building relationships, and it is about treating them with respect and manners as well. So yeah, don't summon them, because the likelihood is they won't come anyway.
And yeah, they've been around a long time, and they just don't want to be irritated. Like,
they can get quite grumpy.
yeah, no, it's only polite. I think when you read about all of these different deities or fairies or otherworldly things, being polite is the most important thing, right?
Yeah, it is respect for, you're asking for things. And there's quite a big trend about manifesting. It is a bit of my pet hate. I see lots of things now where people are coming together on the full moon, and we're manifesting, and we're asking for this, and we're asking for that, and
things being
material things or whatever it might be. They're asking, we're going to work this magic to bring this in. We're going to ask this magic because we want this. There's never any mention of gratitude. There's never any mention of giving thanks for what we've already got. So when you are calling on these deities, divine dragons, whatever it might be, usually it's because you want something from them. So it only makes sense to be respectful and use your manners, because you want them to do something for you.
Do you find, I think this makes me think that spirituality changes with the times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not the basis of it, but what people see out there. So do you people can go for understanding, they can go for maybe just a little encouraged nudge. There's many things that you can ask of the deities, but do you find that there's more material things involved now?
I would say so, yes. I think it is a lot of spiritual folk, not necessarily pagan or witchcraft folk, but a lot of spiritual folk. And they think, oh, it's the full moon, so that's lots of power. Let's ask for stuff. It seems to be a bit of a trend. And I think all of these things go in trends. And I think it all moves with the time. It is fluid. Our spiritual pathways, the witchcraft pathways, they're all fluid, and they do move with the times. You do need to bring in some of the more modern stuff. I mean, we work magic with mobile phones and all sorts these days, which is brilliant. But you've got to remember to give that thanks. I think we are a society, or seem to be a society now, where everybody wants everything now. It's a kind of instant thing, isn't it? And that does seem to sadly be a bit of a trend. Not for everyone, obviously.
No, and it's not for any group. I mean, there is arguments within Christianity, and I'm sure other places, where people are like, you ask God for this, and they find a groups can find a justification for asking for material things or whatever. Any group, anywhere out there. But you're of a certain group, and you're here, and I'm talking to you, so I'm bringing it up now.
I think it is fine to ask for things, because if you have a relationship with deity or dragons or whatever, they are brilliant at providing support or helping you manifest the things that you need, and that's absolutely fine. It's just about remembering that it is a two-way thing. So mind your manners and do your offerings to say thanks, and do whatever it is that you need to do as a give and take kind of thing. There's always got to be a payment with spell working. I think there has to be that payment, whether it is your time or your energy or giving offerings or whatever it might be. There has to be that giving back thing.
Now, do you think that's something that grows with the amount of time that someone stays within a practice? Like, you become more aware as you learn the need to offer back?
experience, I think, probably. Yeah, it's something that you learn that you need to do, because you can't keep asking, because it will implode at some point.
And that's when you learn the lesson. I mean, you have to remember you don't always get what you want, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
But when you're asking for things, it's important to remember that you can also ask for things like strength, resilience, those kind of things. And that's not because I'm a special kind of person, but that was just always my understanding and my go-to in these things. If I couldn't solve it myself, then I need bigger help. Okay. So
and it's not just about asking for money to cover the bills or whatever that you need material wise. I think a huge part of spell working is about courage and self-esteem, self-care. Self-care is a huge kind of area. All of that inner stuff as well, coping with changes. That spell work can cover pretty much anything.
And I think it's when we talk about rituals and that, I just want to bring up that Rachel and her kitchen coven do rituals almost every month. Lately, I haven't been able to make them live and I want to, because there's such a different energy with live and you're participating with all these other people. But life, that time change that time difference puts me at like 2:00 in the afternoon on a Saturday, usually when things are happening. Yes. So, I want that to happen. But you can watch them on replay, and they're always very welcoming.
All
and
on the YouTube
very
channels. Yeah, we do have a laugh. Laughter raises energy.
Yes. It is the best medicine, because even in a scientific way, it apparently stops all other thoughts. So as you can tell, I don't hold on to thoughts very often. But it gives your brain a break, and then creativity can start again from a fresh spot. So they are there, and they were mentioned in the Dragon book as well. Some of them, it was lovely to see their names because they assisted in writing one of the rituals.
Yes. We, before the whole COVID thing, we used to hold in-person open rituals, and the team wrote all the rituals for that.
And that's another thing. It's important to thank the people around you and your group that you're working with, as well as these big important dragons and things.
Oh yeah, I couldn't be without my team. A lot of things go on behind the scenes. I'm just the face because I'm the gobby one, but stuff goes on behind the scenes. Heather and Ness in particular, they do so much work to keep things rocking and rolling behind. It's teamwork.
Anything is. So when we talk about dragons, and there's like so much information in this book, once again, there are so many different types of dragons that I was just going to focus on. And also, I want you to buy this book from Rachel, so I'm not telling you everything. Let's face it, people. But so I was just going to focus on the chaos dragon, because chaos gets a lot of bad press, and which is we are very judgy
of all the dragons in the book. That's the one you pick.
I never do. Because chaos is, from as long as I can remember, my life has been chaotic. Things happen I called them kabooms, but now I'm just like, I cannot deal with another kaboom. And then somebody says, "But you are," but I don't want to. So chaos is there. One of the rituals, because each dragon has a different ritual. So I brought up chaos not just because of me, although I do think I'm important, because a lot of people have been going through chaos. I mean, life is always like that, but it just seems lately that, and chaos is strength, it's resilience, it's the spell for
Yeah,
the
it
chaos
teaches
dragon.
you things. But I think everything, life has a bit of chaos thrown in all the time, doesn't it? That's what makes changes and transformation happen. But there was the chaos dragon that because we included him in that particular ritual, it was cancelled twice and then COVID happened. So chaos dragon, possibly not our best friend at the moment.
But if you had
But
it, you might have not included it in the book. And
yes, it all, yeah, that, you know, things happen. But yeah, you need a bit of chaos in your life. It keeps it keeps things interesting, shall we say.
well, and I think that's where we have to learn, you know, we sometimes judge words like chaos is a bad word. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, just switch it around and say it's growth. Because as much as I may complain about a chaotic life and things kaboomy, every time this is why I'm confused because I can't really get really, really sad because on this hand, something is growing. Fika came out of a kaboom. You know, just something always grows out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about it does. It's got a bit of a bad reputation, hasn't it? It is one of those like witch. It's one of those words that everyone says, "Oh no, that's terrible," but actually, it has its place.
Yes, this is why we always need to read more into the story and to hear all the sides and to
Yeah,
see the word from both ways. Because, well, if you base the word on nature and lightning strikes a tree or whatever, you can see the growth that comes from that. I mean, that's one of the biggest kabooms you can get, right?
yeah, I'd like to see it afterwards or from a safe distance, but
I said C, not B. We don't want that. Nobody gets struck by lightning.
yeah, no, let's not do that.
Just because we said chaos is good. No. It's like summoning a dragon. Okay, just don't do it. So what are some of the chaos dragon? Oh, we'll leave him. I don't want to.
Let's not
Is
the dragon.
is for strength and resilience. Some of the other dragons would work for
I guess it depends how you see dragons. There are a lot of, I mean, dragons are in every culture across the globe. It amazes me how pretty much every single culture will have a dragon story of some sort. I like to think that they're not just related to dinosaur bones. Dragons are real. But there are different types depending on where you are in the world. Your country, even possibly your town or village, will have its own dragon story, and they will be slightly different types of dragons. There are snake type ones, there are four-legged ones, two-legged ones, winged ones, no wings. There's all different types. Look at the legends and myths in your area to find out more information. Hey, Google is your friend on that one. There's all sorts of stories out there. But if you want to make it a lot simpler, most dragons fall into the four elements. They will either be an earth, air, fire, or a water dragon, or the good old chaos one. But most of them fall into one of those four element categories, and that will give it its characteristics.
And I thought it was cool when we talk about like the long dragons that when you're doing a circle for a ritual, you obviously put a circle that the dragon itself can create the circle by curling around. And I thought, oh, they're too cool.
Some of the really long worm dragons, WYRM, their stories are that they literally sleep curled around a mountain. So they're more than big enough to make a circle for you to stand in.
Around a few witches. That's
Yeah.
And that will do it. So what is it that made you feel that there has been a dragon with you for a lifetime?
I literally grew up loving stories about dragons. I've still got a book that I had from my very, very young childhood about a dragon, and then went on to read about other stories with the more famous dragons in. But I have ornaments that I bought as a child or was gifted as a child that have got dragons on them. And so they've always been with me. And I guess it wasn't really until I started the Witchcraft path, which was 30 something years ago, that I realized what that energy was that I had felt that whole time, that connection that I'd had, why I loved the dragon stories so much, why I was always drawn to buy dragon things or ornaments or whatever. And it wasn't until I started my witchcraft journey that I realized that power, that energy was there. And that's what it was. A big old red fire dragon.
and well, no, like the one on the cover.
Yes.
Behind you, move your
That's
head,
right.
Rachel. We're looking at it now. This is interesting to me because it was interesting to me when I read the book, because as readers, people who love books, you don't always realize that those stories that you're drawn to, those things, it could be those myths, those legends, those realities calling to you.
Yeah.
As people say, they are called in different types of faiths. It is saying, here I am. And you would just naturally learn the importance of some dragon characteristics.
Yeah, it's part of your personality as well, I think. You take on those characteristics, or they lend you those characteristics. I don't know.
Well, if you want to set boundaries, I mean, a dragon is perfect for showing you how to set boundaries. Like, no, I'm sorry, you're not getting any further. And when they go to fight, because people say you must always, there's no reason to yell or whatever. But if someone's stepping on your toe and they won't get off, you need to yell or
shout.
be a dragon. Yeah. So I don't know what world these people live in, because I get my toes stepped on all the time. It's just, no, you have to. So a dragon would be a great example of that.
Yeah, channel's probably the wrong word. If I've done something really stupid, and I'm human, I do it. I can feel this looming from behind me, or I haven't been listening to something or paying attention or listening to advice. This looming energy comes up behind me.
Have you watched Damsel yet?
No.
It's on Netflix. Okay. It's about a girl and a dragon. I don't want to get into it too much because but there is an image at the end of it that just explains what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
perfectly. So if anybody out there has seen Damsel, you will know. You can see in your head that looming, that behind, that all embrace of protection, because all they have to do is put their wings, and you're completely safe.
Usually, I think he's sighing and kind of rolling his eyes.
I don't know. Well, because this made me wonder. I even had a unicorn on our wedding cake. Okay, not because of cute and fantasy and pink and fluffy, but because of the purity, the truth, the freedom, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this today, is because I want to get to the bottom of all these stories. Okay, I want to know. So it made me think about that and my characteristics going through that, and what I learned about the things. And I'm like, well, they kept getting broken with my kids. So I just thought, that's it. They're all going. But maybe it's time. People, maybe you have something from your childhood or whatever that you need to bring back and explore, because you never know. Never know. Okay. Does Rachel have a favorite dragon that has been portrayed on screen? Oh, we recently watched the movie Damsel and Elephant.
I'm going to have to watch that. Oh no, I'm a big lover of the Tolkien books. So Smaug is one of my favorites, I would say. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one. That was one of the first books I remember reading from a child as well. The
Smog?
very first book I remember is a book called Green Smoke, and it was produced in the late 60s.
What was it? Green smoke?
Green Smoke. And it's about a little dragon that lives in Cornwall. And I still have that book. And that
Oh, I wrote that one down. I
that
didn't,
captured me.
because I don't know if it would be quite an old. It's not a recent book. See, you can't do live because you start to say things that you think, no, I shouldn't be saying. But I want to read about a little dragon in Cornwall. Like
It's a beautiful, beautiful book.
it's
Yeah, I would say Smaug is probably the first dragon I kind of connected with on the screen, I would think.
Now, did you like that they used Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice? I hope I said that right. Did that work for you, or did you? No, because it's nothing against him.
You have things in your head, don't you?
Yes.
It was when I watched the first Harry Potter film as well. I'd read all the books, and it wasn't quite how I imagined it in my head. And you set that scene, don't you? Yeah, no, I like Benedict Cucumber Pants, as we call him.
I can never get that name right.
I think he's fantastic. Was not quite the voice, I will admit, not quite the voice that I had in my head, no. But, artistic license and all that.
Well, no, that's it. That's why when he asked that question, it's not a person saying, "Oh no, that actor is yucky." It's just I just wanted, because you loved it so much, if it did it. Now, Dave's in that comment saying, and he was the perfect voice for Smog. It says, you all have. We can still love each other and hear different dragon voices.
Yeah, I'm not going to fight about it.
Do dragons have anything in common or related with thunderbirds and the phoenix?
In that they are often classed as mythological creatures, but from a gene biological point of view, not that I'm aware of, I would put those separate. I have worked with the phoenix. The phoenix are amazing to work with for transformation because of their whole burning fire again. But remember that not all dragons are related to fire. My dragon's a fire dragon, but they aren't all related to
They can be water, and remember that they like milk, which is a surprising thing.
They like milk. I think that goes back to the legends and the myths, and I think is possibly that snakes were often stealing milk. Snakes like milk as well, apparently, and I think that might be where the connection comes from. The milk does feature quite a lot in the myths and the legends, but no, I would deal with phoenixes and thunderbirds as separate beings.
So, as time goes by, we have had all this fire, and I just want to make a touch on. There was another thought floating, but it floated right by. I just wanted to touch in on the element of water, which is we haven't discussed on the show, which is part of your Kitchen Witch series, as well as the Pagan Portals, and where you make really corny jokes. She always makes really corny jokes, which is what I love. Just
you're never going to get Shakespeare with my books.
No, but we don't always want Shakespeare. And besides that, he has troublesome witches in his books. That's lovely ones. Like you. I have 3 witches in a row. People I've been wanting to say, and they're not like Macbeth. Okay, I have 3 witches, but they're lovely and they're wonderful. So, so that is. Oh, Robin, I keep saying we have no subjects, but he's Canadian, so he's sorry to change the topic. Vicky, did you ever hear, Rachel, anything about structured water in your research? Always wondered what it is.
Structured water? No, Robin's. I'm going to have long chats with Robin, because that's the second I don't know the answer to.
Okay, and he can get all his questions out. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
pouring in my structured water.
I I don't know much about Robin. He just showed up one day, so I'm not I'm not going to. But
I'm going to have to make notes about these things. I'm going to have to go away and research.
Well, he's supposed
I do
to
know
be.
what I'm doing, honestly.
You know what? I just got this huge batch of books for my little library, and I look at it and I think, oh my goodness, I haven't read anything. I think, what am I doing? I'm an imposter. There's so many books out there, and you can't know everything. You can't know everything.
No, I love it. I love new subjects. New subject. Keep them coming, Robin. Keep them coming.
They are. Robin is lovely. You have, whenever you have a new book coming out, you have a book launch, but it's more of a little lecture about not lecture in a bad way. It's Rachel. They're not going to be boring, okay?
It's a chat. It's a meander through random things.
And with the commenters, it's much like here. She doesn't get a chance to even do her talk sometimes. Because there's comments. So there is one coming up for Dragon Magic on June 22nd.
A little bit different, this one. We're going to do a little bit of a free online workshop rather than me just waffling on. So there will be a little bit of chat. We're going to do a variation of the ritual that's in the book. We have sidelined the Chaos Dragon for this one, just for safety's sake.
I'm sorry. I of course picked a difficult dragon to go with.
So the girls are going to join me for that, and we'll do an online ritual for that as well. And then we'll give people some hints and tips and ideas about how to work with dragon magic. So it'll be like a little mini workshop, but free and open to everyone.
And you can find Rachel just by putting Rachel Patterson, author, witch, whatever, you're not going to need any. She's going to pop up everywhere because she is everywhere. Okay.
There's no escape.
I was going to say, when you were 3 or 4, were you one of those ones that ran to the camera?
Oh, I was precocious. Yeah.
It's that dragon energy coming in early. Just and it's a lovely precocious now. So
mellow, totally.
And they're also on her YouTube channel, so you can watch them later. I was there present for the water one, and the goddesses of
I
England.
lose track of them. I think there's another one out in September. That will be my 30th book. Lose track.
And which one is that?
Sulis comes out in September.
Right, I saw that. And Sulis was brought up in the Goddesses of England.
Yeah.
As one of the true.
She's another fiery one.
So you have to find her. But didn't you find a lot of a symbol of her by a bath?
Sulis is the only place you will find her is in Bath in Somerset, in the West Country in England. Most, not all, but most of the ancient English deities, I'm not talking Celts, Scottish, I'm talking England, are quite difficult to find because they've been forgotten. But a lot of them are anchored to one place, so they might be a goddess of one specific river. Sulis is goddess of the only solar springs in the UK.
So it shows you how fire and water works together.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has to be that balance. So I found a lot of helpful hints in the element of water and being who I am. And so I would suggest that to anybody who's looking for calmness. Granted, water destroys as well with floods and that, but it doesn't have what was that? Structured water, but it does have
It might
ice.
have. I might have called it something else. Yeah.
We don't know. Robin, I would like a list of your questions before the show
Yes.
starts.
I'll do my homework and I'll make an essay. No, I love it. This is such a huge subject. It's lovely to find new things. I'm always studying. I'm always learning new things, and that is part of the journey.
That is, I can't. I mean, as I get older and you don't have, little people to take care of, or you don't have, you have more time and you just keep realizing, like, yes, I saw that big pile of books and said I read nothing, but then I thought, oh my good, but I have so much to read. Like, I just have to 12 through my life that I can just sit here and read. I need dragon energy to keep that time safe. So Solace is coming out in December, and you have some other books coming out. No? Do we have dates on anything?
There's always something coming. Always something coming. Yes, Dragons is end of June, beginning of July. Sulis is September, October. There'll be a hedge witch next year, and then there are a few more that I'm writing.
So I'm really looking forward to the hedge witch one as well, because
fascinating area to work with.
And it doesn't in any way or shape or form, these are things that you can go looking for in your own backyard. You can entertain if you're we were talking about retirement earlier and the possibility of it not happening. But not everybody's going to be climbing mountains in their older years. So if you are
budgeted that now,
I'll buy a postcard for the view. Okay, it's all right. But it is very frugal. Okay, doing these things, listening to, and you can have so much passion and so much fun doing them, and meet people along the way, like Rachel, and yeah, just get out there and, well, first of all, sit and read the book and get out there and play.
You can work magic with anything. Mother Nature provides all sorts of things you can work with magic with. It shouldn't cost huge amounts of money. It's all there.
Yes, no, and actually in some of the books you have cautioned that use the real stuff, not stuff you find online that go out and get your pine cones.
Yeah, I mean, it seems ridiculous to order things from the other side of the planet when you could go in your back garden and work magic with some grass or some pine cones. Yeah, absolutely.
And snowflakes. We have had that discussion.
Yeah, you can work lots of magic with snow. Absolutely.
So,
not
Robin,
really
concentrate on that. But in Canada, there's, especially where you are, I'm thinking there's lots of snow. So don't worry about the solidified water or the birthday candles. Just go with the snow. Okay. One more from Historical Niagara, Dave. Oh, that's a good question because it goes back and forth. Does Rachel believe the Viking dragon lore may have been influenced by English lore and culture, or do you think they just grew side by side?
Yeah, they grew side by side. From the research that I've done, a question I can answer. From the research that I've done, each individual country developed its own dragon lore, and I think from the science point of view, a lot of it was to do with finding dinosaur bones and putting that story to them, and of course you find those across the globe as well. So each country would have developed its own unique dragon stories. That's why dragon appearances do differ across the world.
There you go. And Robin, I usually send a question sheet out to my authors. Rachel goes cold, so we just do this cold. But I would like your list of questions on Monday then, so I can have them.
Do we have a working one? I mean, for my essay.
So, you can't shatter her confidence.
No, I'm fascinated to know now. Yeah, I'm going to go and do my homework.
So, was there anything else you wanted to mention to the world?
Just get out there and do it. It is the only way. And if anyone has any questions, including Robin, please do feel free to message me. I'm always happy to answer questions if I can.
She does. She's lovely inside and out. Rachel is a lovely person, except possibly for that little I want to start fires thing in the corner.
Apart from my pyromania, I'm
fine. So, Rachel, thank you again. You take care.
Fun.
And I will have to have you back definitely for Hedge Witch, or if you find the answer to those questions, we'll just do, okay, Robin, hit us.
We'll get Robin to put the questions beforehand so I can.
That's it. See what you did, Robin?
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, no. I think Robin knows that. Besides, you're supposed to be working, not listening to me. Okay, you take care.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for listening.
Bye-bye. Okay. And for the rest of you out there, thank you for listening. And may your coffee be hot and your stories sweet with ample dragons. You have to have dragons in the story. Okay. Now we just need music. I got carried away. That's Robin's fault too. It's all Robin's fault.